रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना। भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः। पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्। नमस्सदसे नमस्सभायै। With the abundant blessings of Paramatma on such a beautiful evening where we have been blessed by the waters of Varuna from the clouds of Indra, there was no other path. Nanyaf panthaha ayanaya vidyate, says Vedam. There was no other path but to the MLR because the topic is Vishnu Sahasranamam. I'm really honored to see a plethora and a galaxy of astikas, both in the Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha and Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha. So, a very good evening to the all of you. The topic chosen for the day is Sri Vishnu Sahasranama Vaibhavam. And the language which has been chosen to delineate the topic is English. There could always be a galaxy of activists who will say, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಪ್ರದೇಶದ ರಾಜಧಾನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವತ್ತಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಭಾಷೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೇನೂ ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬ ನಗರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಸ್ಮೋಪಾಲಿಟನ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Hinduism, though, has beautiful classical languages, be it Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, Marathi. All our bhakti saints wrote such grand literature. Who cannot think of the kritis of Bhadrachala Ramadas in Telugu, Kshetraya Padam in Telugu, Tyagaraja Kirtanalu in Telugu. The Devarnamas of Purandaradasa, the Ashtadasas, Kanakadasa, Vijaya Vittaladasa in Kannada will just give us the spirit to understand bhakti more. The Nalayara Divya Prabandham of the Alvars, the Tiruppugal, Vedanta Deshika Prabandham, Tirumurai, Silappadigaram of Tamil, what a classical language it is. But all said and done, today, in the last 100-150 years, we have gotten cosmopolitan one. So the one link language that we find it easier to reach across generations is English. And personally, IMHO, in my humble opinion, more than where the language originated, we have to see what the content is. The content is Vishnu Sahasranamam. How does it matter in which language it is being delivered? Bhasha Giti Prashasta Bhagavati Vachanat Rajavachopacharat, says Vedanta Deshika. Language be any, content matters. And politics in language, especially in bhakti, is something that's forbidden and treated as a pariah, because you can't do politics in bhakti literature. Every language is important. That said, it is in the very same Rajadhani of Bengaluru, which is the capital of Karnataka Pradesh. See, the origin of every word will enthuse us to know more. Vedanta Deshika, in the 13th century allegorical play called as Sankalpa Suryodayam, says, Vidyavichi Sahasra Sambhramamila Dugdharnavadambare. Because Vedanta Deshika, though he was born in Kanchipuram, lived a large section of his life in Shrirangam and Tiruvahindrapuram, spent 20 years of his life in Karnataka Pradesham called Satyakalam. So he says in his allegorical play, Vidyavichi Sahasra Sambhramamila Dugdharnavadambare. In Melakote, it seems that the waves of knowledge come and lash in the mountain. So such was the grandeur of knowledge that the state has produced. So much so that Mahalakshmi, Jagannmata, she has beautiful set of earrings in her ear. It could be studs, the Swarovski, whatever you feel like. Add whatever you want. So she has that. And she is waiting to listen to the news of victory and knowledge from the achievers of the state. So we have got many poets, we have got dramatists, we have got philosophers. Madhva was born here, Madhvacharya, Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha, so many acharyas. So be it philosophers, poets, dramatists, kings, the state has produced so much that there is always a news of victory, triumph. So whenever Mahalakshmi listens to the victory of triumph, it seems she nods her head in acceptance and joy. When she nods, the studs also join with her and nod. Hence, Karneshu Atati. Since the ears have the earrings that jingle along, this state is called Karnata. Karneshu Atati. Because it brings the news of joy. And Rajadhani is extremely important in Sanatana Dharma as well. Both in political and financial perspective, we have a capital. Capital is also extremely important in terms of bhakti literature. Muthuswami Dikshitar, one of the great composers in Shastriya Sangeetam. I keep repeating everywhere when I go. I don't call it Carnatic music. I call it Shastriya Karnataka Sangeetam, because if you are not Shastriyam, you get awards these days. So in Shastriya Sangeeta, Muthuswami Dikshitar is hailed as a genius, a poet par excellence. While speaking about a city of those days, I'm talking about the Chola and the pre-Chola times, Nagapattinam, if you get to see the Google map, go to India map, in the coast of Tamil Nadu, below Chidambaram Sirgali, above Vedaranyam is a place called as Nagapattinam. In one of the kritis he says, Shivarajadhani Kshetrava Sini Chidrupa Vilasini Navayogini Shivarajadhani. For Shaivism, Nagapattinam was a capital, it seems. Shivarajadhani. So Rajadhani is important. So Karneshu Atati, Karnata, in that the capital is Bengaluru. In this very city, for Bharati Vidya Bhavan, a year and a half back, I've spoken on Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam Vaibhava. Many of you may have attended. In Shastram, it is called Punarukti Dosham. If I repeat the same content in another place, it is called Punaha Ukti, Punar Ukti Dosham. You should not keep repeating. Then it will become a political speech. So, I will summarize a certain element of Vishnu Sahasranamam and then plunge into the topic. At the commencement of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam today, I gave a shloka that talks about the greatness of Vyasacharya. Because though there was information available in plenty, at the end of the day, somebody has to take the efforts to compile and assimilate all of them together for us to relish and cherish later. One such great Mahaniya is Vyasa. That is why the place where we sit is generally called Vyasa Pitha. So Vyasa is very important. Even on the day of Chaturmasya Vratam, the beginning, all acharyas do Vyasa Puja. Because Vyasa is a great Maharshi. But this shloka is very unique. It's both mathematical and literary in approach. It says, who is Vyasa? It says Vyasa is Brahma. Vyasa is Brahma. How do we understand that? Brahma does one section of the Srishti. It is called Sadvaraka Srishti. So, Sura, Nara, Khaga, Go, Bhogi, Gandharva, Daityehi. So, he creates. Based on the karma account of each and every person, he assigns a Jivatma to a body. He does that. So, creation, assigning is the work of Brahma. Why is Vyasa Brahma? Because Vyasa too took the task of categorizing. See, in Six Sigma, we call it bucketing. You put the right elements into the right places. So he chose those mantras which are poetic in nature. He made them Rik Vedam. Those mantras of Rik Vedam which are tunable to music, he called it Sama Vedam. Those mantras which were prose in nature, he called it Yajur Vedam. And he took elements of Rig, Yajuhu, Samam and put them together with a Mantrika Bhagam called as Atharvana Vedam. So he has categorized. He has created Mahabharatam. Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Vidhinarayanam Prabhum Kohyanyo Bhuvi Maitreya Mahabharata Krit Bhavet is a beautiful shloka from Vishnu Purana where the father Parashara ends up praising his son Krishna Dvaipayana. So Vyasa has done the task of Brahma in terms of knowledge. So he is Brahma. But Brahma has 4 heads. But Vyasa has 1. So the shlokam says, Achatur Vadanor Brahma. Vyasa is equal to Brahma minus 3 heads. Achatur Vadanor Brahma. He is Brahma, but Brahma minus 3 heads. Does he help us live better? That is the topic of the day. How does Vishnu Sahasranamam bring some kind of an ambrosia or a peace in our lives is the topic of the day. So sustenance, which is the duty of Narayana, is done by Vyasa. But Narayana has Chaturbhujam, Tamadbhutam, Balakamambhujekshanam, Chaturbhujam, Shankagada When Krishna was born in Bhagavatam, Dashamaskandam, Vasudeva says, I see a boy who's as blue-hued as a newly born sapphire in front of me with 4 hands. Tamadbhutam, Balakamambhujekshanam, Chaturbhujam. When Arjuna sees the cosmic form in the Ekadashadhyayam, which is 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he's flabbergasted. He says, Krishna, I can't take this vision at one go. Come back to your original form with 4 hands. Svenaiva rupena chaturbhujena. So, Chaturbhujam is an identity, Adharatvam of Narayana. But Vyasa has only 2 hands. We call him Vishnu. But Vishnu has 4, he has 2. So, he's Vishnu minus 2 hands. Dvibahur aparo harihi. With the help of reading his granthas, internalizing, contemplating upon them, our papam is vanished. So he helps destroy the sins. Since he does the work of destruction, he is Shambhu, Mahadeva. But Mahadeva is having 3 eyes. Vyasa has 2. So he is Shiva minus 1 eye. Brahma minus 3 heads. Vishnu minus 2 hands. Shiva minus 1 eye. Achatur Vadanor Brahma. Dvibahur aparo harihi. Aphala lochana Shambhu. Bhagavan Badarayanaha. That Vyasacharya has been so magnanimous, has been so thoughtful, has been so systematic in preserving this quintessential knowledge in the form of a beautiful Mahat Grantham called as Mahabharatam. It is called Jaya. The original name is Jaya. So Jaya, also known as Mahabharatam, has close to, see, there will be variations. Some will say 1 lakh, some will say 1,16,268. One will say 1,25,000. So it is generally called Sapada Laksha Grantham. 1 plus 25,000, 1,25,000 verses. 2.5 times the size of Iliad and Odyssey put together. 3.5 times the size of Paradise Lost. 1,600 character names. The mammoth of Mahabharatam is unimaginable. But our acharyas knew our problem. Our problem is the moment we see the law. When I used to read Harry Potter, I used to be so worried, petrified looking at Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings book is close to Mahabharatam. So the size of the book is what that petrifies us. It worries us. So our acharyas say, read Mahabharatam, no problem. But I will choose and give you 5 ratnas in it, 5 gems, Pancharatnam. One is a conversation between the poor administrator called Dhritarashtra and his unfortunate yet wise brother called as Vidura. This conversation between these two men is called Vidura Niti. There is a conversation of Dhritarashtra with Sanat Sujata, so it is called Sanat Sujatiyam. So Vidura Niti, Sanat Sujatiyam. Next is a conversation between the Yaksha who protects a lake with Yudhishthira with 124 questions. What was that for? To drink water. To drink water, this man had to answer 124 questions rightly, and there was no possibility of a question paper leak. So 124 questions he has to answer without taking a break, no sabbatical allowed. 124 questions he answered at one go. And he got rejuvenation to his 4 brothers who were looking like dead. And this conversation is called Yaksha Prashnam. See, something very unique about this work is, this work, more than the answers were good. The questions were even better. So that is why it is called by the question, Yaksha Prashnam. Or it should have been Yudhishthira Uttaram, right? It is called Yaksha Prashnam. The questions were better. Wish people also ask good questions in the question hour, in the parliament. So, Yaksha Prashnam, 3rd Ratnam. The 4th and the 5th are a beautiful combo. Whenever sales don't happen, shops will always push a combo pack. So the combo, this one is a winning combo. One is where Paramatma is the speaker. The other is where Paramatma is the listener. Paramatma is the speaker in Bhagavad Gita. Paramatma is the listener to Vishnu Sahasranamam. One, Krishna himself spoke. Questions were asked by Arjuna. The other, Yudhishthira asked questions. Bhishma gave replies. This conversation was heard and witnessed and sanctioned by Krishna. Devaki Nandana Srishta, Kshitishaha Papanashanaha, Shankhabrin Nandaki Chakri, Sharanga Dhanva Gadadharaha, says Sahasranam. Krishna was there. That is why Adi Shankara very intelligently coupled this. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Gita Nama Sahasram. He has put them together. Bhagavad Gita is a ocean. 700 shlokas. On a lighter vein, Arjuna did not know what he was listening to. See, his simple question was whether should I fight or not. Krishna could have, it's a simple objective question. Yes, no. Bas utna hi answer hai. Krishna started explaining Atma, Shariram, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Sthita Prajna, Parabhakti, Parajnana, Paramabhakti, Devasura Vibhaga Yogam. Arjuna forgot what he asked. Nammai, naan yen kelidde, ivaru yen helta idare. See, at times they will say jokingly, you learn something for the exam and go. Question is something different. It is better you write what you know. It need not be an answer to that question. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is a beautiful conversation, no doubt. But it needs a lot of commentaries, it needs a lot of work, it needs sustenance. See, while I gave my thermodynamics paper in my first semester, how many engineers here? My deepest condolences. So there used to be a paper called as thermodynamics. There were only 2 questions. The first question was for 50 marks and the second was for 50 marks. The answer of the first question is the input for the second question. So there were only 3 options of mark scoring. Either you get 0, 50 or 100. You get none of the questions right, 0. You get the first question right, 50. If you get the first question and the second question right, 100. So these were the choices. We were about 850 people in our batch, 500 scored 0. Bhagavad Gita is like that. Because you cannot suddenly start with 12th chapter. Because the first 6 chapters deal with Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam, Prathama Shatkam. Chapter number 7 to chapter 12 deals with Bhakti Yogam, Sadhana or Upasana. Then in Chapter 1 to chapter 10, whatever questions were available, doubts were raised by Arjuna, were answered between chapter 13 and 18. This is how we split Bhagavad Gita. So suddenly I cannot begin in the middle. Whereas Vishnu Sahasranamam is the best of all. Because I can choose and pick names from anywhere and look into the commentaries and explain. So we are dealing with Vyasacharya, the greatest of the Acharyas. Vyasacharya's greatest creation called as Mahabharatam. In Mahabharatam, the greatest of the works called as Vishnu Sahasranamam. So in 3 levels, it suffices the condition to be worthy enough to expound in such an august gathering filled with so many astikas. So what is the essence of Mahabharatam in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan? How many attended there? Some, nobody. So, Mahabharata Saratvat Rishibhif Pariganataha Vedacharya Samaharat Bhishmotkrishtamatatvataha Parigrahati Shayataha Gita Tyaikaarthakaschanaha. Such a beautiful delineation. He says there are 6 great qualities of Vishnu Sahasranamam. Listen to this, because I'm just going to take 2 minutes for this. Then I have to go into the topic. Mahabharata Saratvat. The essence of 1,25,000 verses of the Brihat Grantham called Mahabharatam is in this 1,000 names. Mahabharata Saratvat. Rishibhif Pariganataha. Remember, just because Bhishma has used these names, it doesn't mean before that nobody used. He says Ramo, Viramo, Virajaha, Margo Neyo, Nayo Nayaha. He says Ramaha. But we had many Ramas before. We had J Rama. Yuradi. Jamadagneya Putrudu kada. Jamadagneya ki peru J Ram. If he has to give it in our birth certificate, he has to say J Ram. So we had one Parashurama called J Ram. Then came Dasharatha Ram, D Ram. So there were already many Ramas. Whatever was given before, who gave this name? Vasishtha. Krishna was called Krishna by Gargacharya. If you read Bhagavatam, Gargacharya came to the cowshed and named Krishna as Krishna. So Krishna name was given by a rishi called Gargacharya. Ramanamam was given by Vasishtha. Narasimha Vapuhu Shriman Keshava Purushottamaha, we say. Narasimha. We have Narasimha Avataram. Upendro Vamanah Pramshuhu Amogha Shushirurjitaha. We have got Vamana Namam. So all these names were in the vogue, were in the existence. What Bhishmacharya intelligently did was, he assimilated all of them. That is why in Sahasranamam we say, Rishibhif Pari Gitani. Rishis have given this. So that is the great part. Mahabharata Saratvat Rishibhif Pariganataha Vedacharya Samaharat. Who has presented this to us? Vedacharya, Bhishma, Vyasa. Bhishmotkrishtamatatvataha. Vyasa may have regarded, but who said this first? Bhishmotkrishtaha. Paramabhakta Bhishma gave. 5th, Parigrahati Shayataha. Very important point. It is not something that was written before, discovered suddenly. It has been there in practice. In Kadambari, a novel written 1,000+ years back, there is a description of the labor room, Sutika Graham, where mothers deliver the children. It was a practice in those days. Kadambari, he writes, Banabhatta, that in a Sutika Graham, in the labor ward, in the corner, there will be 4-5 people always reciting Akhanda Vishnu Sahasranamam. It helps. It kind of catalyzes the mother's delivery. So, there are references in Brihat Parashara Hora Shastram that if a Astika is suffering from kidney problems, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam. I am not talking about now. 1,500 years back, they have said Vishnu Nama Sahasravan. Eye problems, respiratory problems. See, simple, I don't have to get into science at all. You keep reciting shlokas, you know how to breathe in and breathe out. ಜಡಕಿರಣ ಶಕಲಧರ ಜಟಿಲ ನಟಪತಿ ಮಕುಟ ತಟ ನಟ ನಪಟು ವಿಬುಧ ಸರಿದತಿ ಅತಿ ಬಹುಳ ಮಧುಗಳನ ಲಲಿತ ಪದ ನಳಿನ ರಜ ಉಪಮೃದಿತ ನಿಜ ಬ್ರಿಜಿನ ಜಹದುಪಳ ತನು ರುಚಿರ ಪರಮ ಮುನಿವರ ಯುವತಿನುತ. See, the way our acharyas have written is to give an exercise to the tongue. Yoga gives for the body. What is there for the tongue? Languages. Parigrahati-shayataha, fifth characteristic of Vishnu Sahasranamam, it has been accepted by one and all. Eyes have it, eyes have it, eyes have it. Parliament, they say, right? This Vishnu Sahasranamam bill will easily get passed. Geetat yaikarthakaschanaha, the last of the characteristics, Vishnu Sahasranamam is the essence of Bhagavad Gita too. So these were the 6 features of Vishnu Sahasranamam that have been recorded by our Purvacharyas that I delineated in my Bharati Vidya Bhavan lecture, which is there available in Kaivalya Yantram. You know Kaivalya Yantram? Kaivalyam is to do Atma Vicharam. You think about the Jivatma. So if I'm going to say in terms of your perspective, it becomes Tvam. Tvam is you. Yantram is tube. So Kaivalya Yantram is YouTube. So see it there. What is the Vaibhavam of Vishnu Sahasranamam? Let us take a few samples. Rukmini wrote a beautiful love letter to Krishna. Now, some get really offended. Sir, don't use the word love letter. It seems very crass. Shrungara Patram. Same thing. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante nirvishya karna vivaraihi haratongatapam रूपम दृशाम दृशिमताम अखिलार्तलाभम त्वय्यच्युता विशति चित्तमपत्रपम मे श्रुत्वा गुणान. She wrote a letter because she was engaged to Shishupala. You know Bhagavatam. So she was engaged to Shishupala. So the Bharat, Janavasam that we call happened with Shishupala. Marriage with Krishna. So when she explained her marriage album to her son Pradyumna, Pradyumna said, "Ivar yarma." First 4 pages, Shishupala was a boy. Avar verenna. Idu appa inga irukar. Aya appa mundin naal illa. Shrutva gunan. The moment she realized that she had to marry this useless person called Shishupala, she was very clear. Either I will get married to Krishna or I'll remain a spinster. So she wrote a letter and sent it through a Brahmana to Dwaraka. Brahmana did not know the contents of the letter. Krishna received the letter. The moment he opened the scroll. The first word was enough to make him decide this is a love letter. Kanne en ullam kavaranda mani. Tene alagiya mani. Sumara da iruparavar. Ezhudha vendiyadha. Shrutva gunan. Shrutva. Rukmini says Shrutva. I've heard of you. See, that is, we say love is blind, right? It's deaf also. Shrutva. She has not seen Krishna because he locked his profile. Shrutva gunan. She says, I've just heard about you. So Krishna said, okay, you've heard. Shrutva. Gunan you are saying, Rukmini. Kya hai ye? Gunam. Gunam means a great quality. What gunam do I have? People accuse me I am a thief. I lie. I dance in the middle of the night. सभी लोग मुझे ऐसे ही accuse करते हैं. माखन चोर है, रण छोड़ राय है. तुम बता रही हो कि मैं गुणवान हूं. ये कैसे हो सकती है? Rukmini said, I think you need to brush up your Sanskritam skills. It is a Shrutva Agunan. I fell in love with you by hearing your doshams. மாப்பிளை பிடிச்சிருக்கா எப்படி சிகரெட் பிடிக்கிறார்? Shrutva Agunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatante. Shrutva Agunan. I have fallen in love with you just by listening to your doshams. When you steal butter, I wonder how you beautifully stole butter. When they say you lied, I wonder if a person can lie with such a straight face. You danced in the middle of the night. The Brigade Road is waiting on the 31st of December. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante. She doesn't address him as Krishna. She calls him Bhuvana Sundara, Mr. World. Bhuvana Sundara. Nirvishya karna vivaraihi haratongatapam. My Pracharya used to state, in those days for this one shloka, they used to explain for 6 hours. I don't have that time. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrunvatate nirvishya karna vivaraihi haratongatapam rupam drisham drishimatam akhilartalabam. Krishna, you have to come and take me before I get married to this man. Krishna asked, why should I come? Give me a strong reason that has to coax me to come there. Tvai achyuta. Tvai achyuta. Aren't you called achyuta? Chuti Chavana. Chuti. The verb chuti in Sanskritam means to leave, abandon, to slide, to fall. If you leave something, it is called chuti. In Sri Mahabharatam, there is a reference to a beautiful story to a rishi called a Chavana. And this Chavana was there much before Rama's time. See, don't get confused. Because it is there in Mahabharatam, people will think he lived during those times. The story of Chavana and Sukanya who lived before Rama has been mentioned in Mahabharatam. See, you have to understand the chronology. Because Sita invokes in Sundarakandam, when she is being tormented by Ravana, she says, Dhinova Rajya Hinova Yome Bharta Same Guruhu Yatha Suryam Suvarchala. I have been like Suvarchala to Surya, Lopamudra Agastyam Cha, Nalam Damayanti Cha. I am like Damayanti to Nala, like Sukanya to Chavana. So all these people invoked by Sita lived before Sita. So there was a rishi called Bhrigu. Bhrigu had a wife called Puloma. He left his ashramam to do his daily nitya karma. While he left, he said, Agni Devata, that I've been prostrating through Agnihotram, protect my wife for some time. For half an hour break, you protect. He went. That time one Rakshasa in the vicinity, in one of the habitats close by, he came and he abducted, pulled Puloma. Puloma was pregnant. When she was pulled by force out of the fear that arose in her because force was applied on her, the water broke and from the amniotic sac came the child and fell on the ground. Since it fell, it left the mother, Chuti happened. This rishi was called Chavana. Many Ayurveda specialists treat Chavana as a very important rishi. They say there's a concoction that he gave called Prasham. Chavana Prasham, we say, right? So some of the Ayurveda specialists record it that way. So this Chavana married Sukanya. But what was his name? Chavana. He didn't leave his wife, but when he was born, he was left by the mother. So Chuti. But Bhagavan cannot abandon us. So there is one place in Sri Mahabharatam. Ajas Sarveshwara Siddha Siddhi Sarvadir Achyutaha. He cannot do chuti with us. He cannot abandon us. Since he is not allowed to, he won't abandon. He is called Achyuta. So Rukmini tells Krishna, when Krishna asks, why should I come? You have a name called Achyuta. So you cannot abandon me, come and protect me, else you will be called only Chuta, not Achyuta. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrunvatante nirvishya karna vivaraihi haratongatapam rupam drisham drishimatam akhilarthalabham tvai achyuta. If you're fairly conversant with spoken Tamil, the Nalayira Divya Prabandham Thundaradi Podiyalvar records, Pachai Mamalai Pol Meni Pavalavai Kamala Chenkan Achyuta Amarare Re Ayartam Kolundeyanum Achyuta Amarare Re Achyuta. So, this is the 101st Nama in Vishnu Sahasranamam. Achyutaha means the one who won't abandon his devotees. What a beautiful name. Whenever you feel low in your life, think of this Nama. He will not abandon you. It may look momentarily that nobody is there to help you, but he will be there in some form of the other. So Achyuta means he won't abandon us at all. It is 101st Nama. It is called the gift Nama. Generally when people gift, they will write 101. Mui Nyama. Mainama, Muinama. There is this beautiful connection that we need to establish. See, it is my very amateur task, a very baby step that I feel that I am taking hopefully in the right direction. Some sampradayas say Bhagavatam is alone important. Some will say Ramayanam alone is important. But we need to understand it is not a question of being sectarian in approach. There is nothing called Ramayana party, Bhagavatam party. All these granthas are important and they are all interconnected. That interconnection is very important. We cannot get very knee-jerk reactions or being very sentimental about saying, how can you say that there are other granthas are also important? Bhagavatam is important. Bhagavatam is important. Vishnu Puranam is important. Shiva Puranam is important. Mahabharatam is... They're all interconnected. How interconnected they are? I'll tell you one anecdote. In Srimad Ramayanam, Moola Ramayanam, Adi Kavyam, Valmiki's Ramayanam, Ayodhya Kandam, the premise is very simple. The premise is Dasharatha Chakravarti, very strong king, fought many battles, had children, very obedient and very valorous children. Everything was going fine until Manthara came then, brainwashed Kaikeyi. She took 1 hour, 1.5 hours to do that. Had she been living today, she'll be the most sought by corporates. 1.5 hours was enough for Manthara to brainwash a mother. Towards the end of it, Kaikeyi was left directionless, clueless. She said, what should I do? You have opened my eyes. She ends up praising. See, that is all poetic beauty. Kaikeyi says, I don't know, Brahma has given you jnanam even in your hunch. You're so intelligent, you've got 2 brains and all. She says, that's all okay. Now, Manthara gives a solution. See, look at Manthara. You have to understand what a character that Manthara is. First, she brainwashes. She also gives a solution. She says, you remember Kaikeyi, you assisted your husband in the Yuddham with Shambhara Asura in Vaijayanta. Impressed with your valor, he said, I will give you 2 boons. And he granted and you said, I will take it later. You remember? See, Dasharatha, had he been really prudent, he should have given an expiry date to that boon. He should have said, 10 din mein puchna chahiye. See, there's Amazon and all. They'll say 15 days, you wear as much as possible and return. So, he kept it as an open thing. He said no expiry date. Now this comes as a problem. So she says, invoke those 2 boons. Then Kaikeyi asks for those 2 boons. Dasharatha is very reluctant. He gets a small attack. He falls on the ground. She says, whether you die or not, you have to give these 2 boons. She is very clear. Everybody has to die one day. What if it happens a few days before? So, Dasharatha was in a very tough position. That said, Rama was obedient enough to say that, okay, Papa, I will leave. See, that I keep telling Dasharatha was extremely fortunate to have a son like Rama. Had it been Krishna, he would have sued him in the court. Dragged him. A bunch of lawyers would have fought. Rama, when he left, Sita also left. See, I keep telling, what a character they are all. What? How selfless. I would have said, the world is small. Had I been Sita. Rama, I completely respect your father's decision and your decision to go. I know the world is small. Let's keep meeting again. Stay in touch. Stay in touch. I'm sure technology helps. Just give me a hug. I would have just said. I would have not gone. Why will I leave the comforts of the palace and go to a place which is an utopian land, not a path that's infested with rose petals, but rather infested with thorns? But she said, I will join. The bigger surprise came when Lakshmana said, Aham sarvam karishyami. She said, I will also join. That idealistic world was not there in Mahabharata. So they all left. The moment they left, Dasharatha lamented about the death of a sannyasi. Who is that tapasvi? There was a tapasvi who was killed by Dasharatha. Very good. Shravana. Remember, in Valmiki Ramayanam, there is no mention of the name Shravana. It came much later, but the word is tapasvi. He killed the boy, the parents also died. While they were parting, they pronounced a curse that you too shall die with the separation of your son that shall be witnessed by you. Dasharatha died that way. That night, when Dasharatha died, remember this is a very important point. When Dasharatha died, Yam eva ratrim te dutaha. This is Valmiki Ramayana shlokam. Yam eva ratrim te dutaha pravishyanti smatam purim Bharatena apitam ratrim swapno drishtaha ayam apriyaha. Swapno drishtaha apriyaha. That night, Yameva Ratrim, that night when the messengers of Ayodhya left to Kekeya, Ayodhya is in Uttar Pradesh, Kekeya is around the Jalalabad region of upper part of Afghanistan, where there is a river, used to be a river called Sudama. So you have to cross Uttarakhand, parts of Himachal, Kashmir, one part of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and then enter there. So it will take 7 days. So he entered that region. Yameva Ratrim, that very night when the messengers wanted to convey the news of the death of Dasharatha, Tameva Ratrim, that very night, before Bharata could meet the messengers, he had a swapno, he had a dream. What is that dream? There is a detailed version of that dream by Valmiki. He says, Bharata saw his father's head who was tonsured. He was wearing clothes, but the lady who was dragging him was wearing iron ornaments. She was draped in red and black. She gave a evilish guffaw. She pulled him to the end of the cliff and she pushed him into the pit of cow dung when the father was lamenting like a retarded, a mad person. This is the description. Bharata was shocked. He woke up. He looked at Shatrughna. He said, Shatrughna, I had a dream like this. That is when Shatrughna says, Etan maha tapyamanam samajnaya vayasyaha priyavadinaha ayasam hi vineshyantaha sabhayam chakrire kathaha. Beautiful shloka. Shatrughna, he says, don't worry, brother. Generally, when you see a worried person, the first line you say, don't worry. Then he took a slew of measures. He said, Chakrire Kathaha. I will call the people who delineate stories, people like me. Chakrire Kathaha. They will tell nice stories. You will listen to them. You will feel very rejuvenated. You will not have the negative energy in you. He engaged one Katha person. This is there in Ramayana. Who is that Katha person? What did he detail? What story was it? What is the model? That is not there. Valmiki has given this as a home assignment for us because he had a bad dream. The solution to the bad dream is to listen to a story. That story should be able to mitigate the fears caused by the bad dream. That is the first scenario. Now let us go to another bhagam which is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. In Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam, Parikshit asks one question. Badarayana yetatte. He looks at Shukabrahmam and says, Parikshit says, I have heard in my childhood about one elephant and a crocodile. Tell me what really happened. Because if you see it at a very preliminary level, it is a simple incident of a National Geographic channel. One elephant enters one pond. The crocodile tries to catch it. Simple. If you go to Masai Mara, anywhere, you can see it. You see elephant attacks crocodile, you put through search engine optimization, you get plenty of videos. But the question is it worthy of being a part of Mahabhagavata Mahapuranam? It's a small two-animal fight incident. Very valid question. We'll see how the sequence goes. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that an elephant that was living as the king of elephants, King or a chief means Indra. Indra Shabdam is a common noun as well, which means chief. Gajanam Indraha, Gajendraha. The chief of elephants is called Gajendra. Gaja has various paryayavachaka shabdam, very synonyms. One is Vrinda. Saranga. So Vrinda is a group. Saranga is also an elephant. Sarangendra. Sarangendra means the chief of elephants. Gajendra, Sarangendra. So they all come in a group. That is why Dikshitar says, Vrindavana Sarangendra Varadaramanta Ranga Shyamalanga Vihanga Turanga Sadaya Panga Satsanga Ranga Pura Vihara Sarangendra. So this Gaja, the elephant, the chief of the elephants, went along with many female elephants. All this is there in Bhagavatam. To a pond. Where was this pond? By the banks of river Tambraparani. Tambraparani is a beautiful nadi that originates in Tamil Nadu, flows in Tamil Nadu and then goes into the Bay of Bengal. It flows around the Tirunelveli region. So, Bhagavatam clearly states, by the banks of river Tamraparani, in a beautiful pond that had so many lotus flowers, was this elephant that plunged into the waters. Elephants are very happy with waters. So they started spraying on each other. They had a good time. But when our grandmothers and grandfathers tell us this incident, they will make a small modification. They'll say there was a temple close by. The elephant used to take the flower to the temple every day. All that is not there. This elephant is there. Grandfathers, grandmothers are good, but that is extra. So in Bhagavatam, the elephant went for a joy ride. It went into the pond, plucked that lotus flower. What efforts the elephant has to put for plucking a lotus flower? It just plucked and held in its trunk. It was a style quotient. So it was just holding. All the female elephants took a selfie. Talaivar eppadi irukkaru parunga. So the elephant was holding the flower. Somebody said, sir, it plucked the lotus? Yes. In Tamil Nadu? Because I said, for a lotus to bloom, the sun has to shine. That is perennially shining in Tamil Nadu. I meant the natural phenomenon. So, the elephant plucked the lotus and held it in its trunk. The elephant wanted to come out of the pond. Simple movements. The elephant went, plucked the flower, got out. While getting out, 3 of its limbs were out, 1 limb was caught. It thought it was caught in the marshes because lotus is called pankajam, that grows in marshes. So the elephant tried to pull its limb, couldn't. Then when it turned back, it saw that its limb was caught in the jaws of a ferocious crocodile. Gaja akarshate tire, graha akarshate jale, says Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. Simple incident. The elephant tried to, every animal will try to fight it out. The elephant fought out. Till now, it is a normal incident. It turns Bhagavatam at this moment when the elephant for a second remembers its previous janma. Such unique creations are called Jati Smaraha. Very few people have this ability to see their Purva Janma. They are called Jati Smaraha. The elephant remembered what it was in the past. In the vicinity around in Pandya Desham. Now you may say, sir, Pandyas are all new kings, sir. Cholas, Pandyas, wo hi bata rahe hain aap. See, amongst the kings, Chola and Pandya names find mention in Sangam literature and in our Vedic literature. Very old kings. They used to come, sometime they will vanish, then again that dynasty will come. If you're reading Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham, you will see that there is a beautiful Swayamvaram that happens for Indumati, Dasharatha's mother. She chooses Aja Maharaja there. That time, her maid servant called Sunanda says, these are all the kings. While she introduces, she says, this man is from Pandya Desham. She introduces one king. He is from Uragapuri. Uragapuri is place protected by snakes. It's called Alavai. So Pandya Chola reference is there. So there was a Pandya Raja in the Pandya Desham called Indradyumnaha. Indradyumnaha Pandya Khandadi Rajastvad Bhaktatma Chandanadrau Kadachit Tvatsevayam Magnadhihi Aluloke Naivagastyam Praptamatithya Kamam. Bhattatri summarizes this in Narayaniyam. Indradyumnaha, there was a king. While he was doing Aradhana to Bhagavan, Agastya Maharishi came. Agastya was always walking between Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. So this was called Dramida Desham, peninsular region. So he walked in. He was too short. The king was into deep meditation. So as a sign of acknowledgement, he nodded his head. Agastya got perturbed. You are nodding your head and you are not standing up. You will be born as an element that keeps nodding its head. That way someone said, sir, if you nod your head and acknowledge, you get sharpam. So we won't acknowledge it. Pongo. Talaya kuda aata matala. You yanaya purantu. So, this Pandya Raja who was already in Hari Aradhana to Narayana was born as the elephant. That moment the elephant remembered that it was the Pandya Raja and remembered the hymn that which it used to propitiate Narayana. That hymn was re-remembered by the elephant. And Bhagavan came from his Paryankasanam. See, that is one big story. I don't want to get into that. He came from Paryankasanam. Uksha Dakshantakasya Skalajit Kunjara Kanjariti, says Vedanta Deshika. He came. Potanna in Bhagavatam. What a language Telugu is. If you take it from a literary perspective, it gives you that scope to, enjoy. See, every language has its own plus and minuses. Not much minus, pluses. Telugu as a language is very beautiful for literature. Potanna says, what was the scene in Vaikuntham? How does he know, sir? See, you should go to Vaikuntham. CCTV mein dekha. Aisa kuch hua. How does he know? That is why in Potanna Bhagavatam they say, in Aitihyam, he did not write all the shlokas. When he left, he wanted to describe how Vaikuntham is. How will he describe? He left, he said, let me go think and come. By the time another person in the disguise of Potanna came and wrote. It is believed that Bhagavan himself, because he only lives in Vaikuntham, only he will know how Vaikuntham is. So he wrote, Ala Vaikuntapuram mulo nagarilo na saudambuda palamandara kusuma saraf prantendu kanto palot palaparyankarama vinodiyadagu guyalinchi samrambhiyai. He says how that Paryankasanam was. Narayana left, came to that Pushkarini, released his chakram, released the elephant's leg from the graha, from the crocodile. And this is how Gajendra Moksham is positioned. This is there in Bhagavatam. Now I will tell you what Shukabrahmam says towards the end of Gajendra Moksham. Etan Maharaja Taverito Maya Krishna Anubhavo Gajaraja Mokshanam Svargyam Yashasyam Kalikalmasha Apaham Duswapnanasham Kuruvarya Shrinvatam. Shukabrahmam tells Parikshit, my dear king, you have heard Gajendra Moksham patiently. Remember, whoever listens to Gajendra Moksham, Duswapna Nashanam, they will not get bad dreams. So when Shatrughna had arranged for a storytelling session to Bharata to get rid of the bad dreams, the answer comes in Bhagavatam. So how Ramayana and Bhagavatam are connected? Now I have to connect Ramayanam, Bhagavatam and Bhagavatam with Mahabharatam, because Vishnu Sahasranamam is there in Mahabharatam. There is a Nama, 926th Nama, Duswapna Nashanaha. Uttarano Dushkritiha Punyo Duswapna Nashanaha. Duswapna Nashanaha means the one who will give you very pleasing dreams. Sir, does that matter? Yes. See, I'm sure a lot of you here will be working. Will need to work from your house, for the house, outside the house, both women and men. Children have to go to school. A lot of the youngsters and sophomores have to go to colleges. When you wake up, you want to be, very happy. At least you want it to be a very, very nice, warm, and a very happy morning. You don't want to have a dream where somebody chases you, you keep running, and then you keep panting for breath. You can run in your dreams even if you're 100 grams more. So, you keep running. Finally, you wake up to reality and then check that you've got a worse scenario, because what you had was a dream, but you've got a day to spend. So, Acharyas say, remember this nama when you sleep. Dusvapnanashanaya namaha. Think of that Bhagavan. Think of this nama. See, solutions are so simple, cost effective, time effective. It's not a long shloka. Dusvapnanashanaha. Such a name. It will take 2 seconds. If you tell it fast, 1.5. That Acharya say, think of it. Dusvapna nash. Think of Gajendra Moksham when you sleep. Think of this Dusvapna nashanaha and sleep. When you wake up, there is a Shastra Vakyam. Naham, naham, nachaham. When you wake up, you have to think of Gajendra Moksham, it seems. When you sleep, think of Dusvapna nashanaha. When you wake up, see, these are all little solutions that you can try to make our daily lives better. So Vishnu Sahasranamam is a beautiful capsule without any side effects that helps us treat every day so beautifully. Next comes 2 namas together. Achalaha, Chalaha. In Sahasranamam you get Achalaha, Chalaha. What does this Achalaha mean? What does Chalaha mean? Beautiful namas. Listen to this. Every time I read Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam, read its commentaries, the moment when you see something beautiful, when I research at home, I'll feel, oh, why shouldn't I have an audience now? You'll feel like having an audience to share the joy of your scriptures. Achalaha, Chalaha. Beautiful namas. Achalaha. See, Krishna, in Rama Avataram, Rama had this desire that he should be a messenger. Duta. Duta means the one who carries a message from person A to person B. Today we have an artificial messenger. We have so many messengers. In Insta, there is one messenger. In Twitter, you can put a DM. Not Twitter, right? What is the new Namakarana? X. In X, you can put one DM. In Facebook, there is a messenger. But I'm sure, at least the elderly people will remember, in the initial kindergarten days, there used to be an exercise given by the teacher. It's called, where the teacher says a line to the first student in the ears. The child has to whisper it in the second child. It goes one place after the other. And finally, when you see the message that has come towards the end, that is absolutely diametrically opposite to what was said before. So it's, not being very racist, but it used to be called the Chinese whisper. I have to give this disclaimer. Then they'll say, oh, you're being racist. That's not right. Don't be judgmental. I'm not judgmental. It was called Chinese whisper. So message has to be conveyed the right way. Rama thought this is a beautiful task that needs to be accomplished. I need to be a messenger. Was he? No. He had the opportunity to send a messenger. He sent Hanuman as the messenger. Darpo dagra dashendriyananamanha naktaccharadishtite dehesmin bhavasindhunam parigate dinam dashamasthitaha adyatve harumatsamena guruna prakhyapitarthaf puman Lanka ruddha videha rajatanayan nyayena lalapyate. He sent Hanuman as a messenger, but he couldn't go as one. That little, desire to be a messenger was always there in him. Came Krishna Avataram. He was waiting where? He has to make hay while the sun shines, seize that opportunity so that he can become the messenger. No. Chance came. There was a chance. After 12 years of Vanavasam, 1 year of Ajnatavasam, the year of incognito, the Pandavas and Draupadi reached Kampilya, the capital of then Panchala, under the leadership of Drupada. That is when they had to get the Rajyam of Indraprastha back. First, one Brahmana went as a messenger. He was slapped by Duryodhana. This Brahmana came with those full marks. He showed, dekhiye. Then all the ointment was applied, and then who will go? Nobody was ready, because who will get the next slap? People were wondering, who will go as a messenger? Because Yudhishthira cannot go, because he is technically the Raja of Indraprastha. A Raja generally used to avoid this process of going as a messenger. But Krishna volunteered. He said, I will go. Because all along he had the desire to be a messenger. He said, I will go as a Duta. Krishna Sambandhi. Krishna's son was married to Duryodhana's daughter. Remember this relationship. Krishna's son Shambha was married to Duryodhana's daughter. So they were in a way in a Sambandhi relationship. So when Krishna had to come, Duryodhana said, I will find a way. Father said, you give him a few cows. All this is there in Mahabharatam. Kuch cows de do, wo aa jayega. See this bribe concept. Dhritarashtra said, you give something to him, he'll come. Vidura, he said, just 2 days back I told you Vidura Niti. What purpose does it serve? Nai balu donku anta ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ವೇ. ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿನಗೆ ಉಪದೇಶ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೇನು ವಿವೇಕ ಬರಲ್ವೇ? So Krishna went. Duryodhana said, I've made all arrangements for you. There's a beautiful suite. Make yourself comfortable. Feel free to ask. I've got a beautiful suite for you. Krishna said, thank you so much. I really appreciate, but I can't take your suite. Oh, if you're avoiding mine, choose Bhishma or Drona. Sorry. Where will you stay? Bhishma Drona Vratikramya Mamschaiva Madhusudana Kimartam Pundarikaksha. Where will you go? Krishna said, I will go to that hut of Vidura. I'm happy there. I'm okay. I grew up in Gokulam, very minimum comforts I can manage. The next day when he went to Sabha Mantapam, Duryodhana had created a pit below and held a few mallas there, wrestlers, WWF champions. So when Krishna sat, one version of Mahabharatam says he went below and the wrestlers tried to catch him. Krishna showed his cosmic form. Krishna Avataram, everything is magical. Don't apply logic there. Full magical. Krishna said, Mayanai, Mannu Vadamadurai, Maindanai. He said, see, look at me. And he was uncontrollable by those valorous, prowess-filled wrestlers. The one, Duryodhanadibihi, Duratmabihi, Abedyaha. The one who is uncontrollable even through the power unleashed by Duryodhana is called Achalaha. Achalaha is the name of the Lord in Vishnu Sahasranamam. The one who is uncontrollable through force is called Achalaha. Then what is Chalaha? The one who is controllable, correct? It should mean that way. No. For this I have to tell you another anecdote. So, in Sri Mahabharatam, Arjuna was related to Krishna in two ways. One, he is Krishna's aunt's son. Atte Maga. See, these relationships are very well understood by Kanakadasa. If you see Kanakadasa Kirtanas, you will get a very good knowledge of Mahabharatam. Purandaradasa is very sarcastic. See, Purandaradasa keeps pleading to Bhagavan, I am in problems. Why don't you take me to Vaikuntha? Please don't leave me on earth. I am tired, fed up with these people. Take me. Bhagavan doesn't, you are not allowed to commit suicide in Sanatana Dharma. You have to wait for that moment. So Purandaradasa very sarcastically asks. He was a pawnbroker before. He was a miser actually. So he says, you came and protected Gajendra. How much did he pay you? Kariraja yeshtu kottano helo hariye yake ನಿರ್ದಯನಾದಿಯೋ ಕರಿರಾಜ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟನ ನಾನು ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್ ಒನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ವೆನ್ ಕೆಂಗಿಟ್ಟು ಕಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ನರಹರಿಯನಿ ಬಂದಿ ಬಿಂಗದಿ ಪ್ರಹ್ಲಾದನನ ಅಪ್ಪಿಕೊಂಡಿ you came out of the pillar that struck open like a dicotyledon. You came out and embraced Prahlada. Prahlada yeshtu kottano. How much did Prahlada pay? You came and helped Ajamila. Ajamila was married to a lady. He did not do any samskaras, karmas. He had many children. He thought of his son. And while his Atma was about to leave the body, Vishnu Dutas came and said he uttered the name of God. He has to get Vaikuntham. Is that Ajamila your relative? Ajamilanu annano, Vibhishananu tammano, Nija Rukmangada ninage mommagano, Adarilla itarenu na ninage anyano, Nyayavallave tande Purandara Vithala. Look at Purandaradasa's, that experience, the way he's able to say it. See, a lot of us will have experience. We won't know. இது வரைக்கும் வந்துடுத்து, அதுக்கு எனக்கு அப்புறம் எப்படி 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 சொல்றதுன்னு தெரியல. அதுதான், that is why he is Purandaradasa and we are not. You have to say it, right? So Krishna was related to Arjuna because aunt's son. The other relationship was Krishna's sister was married to Arjuna. So he's also the son-in-law of the house. So he was bound to help Arjuna, bound to help Duryodhana. That is when we have this incident, famous incident in Dwaraka, where Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna. And Arjuna said, Krishna, I came to see you. Duryodhana said, I came first. Then Krishna said, see, if you have come first also, you should stay in a place where I can see you. Pinnadi இப்படியே எழுந்துப்பா, கழுத்து சுழிக்காத. I said, so, அது சொல்லலை, I said நான் சொல்றேன். So, went in the front and Krishna said, see, I have my army, S-400, Rafale, everything is there, big army. And on the other side it is me, you can pick and choose. When Duryodhana was about to open, he said, no, I have to give the younger one the first choice. Arjuna, you ask. Arjuna said, is there a question? Why should there be a dilemma? I will choose only you. Duryodhana was extremely happy. Because some people always see for quantity more than quality. Patti steel patram, they will choose more over than a solitaire. So he said, I got a big army. He went to his uncle. His uncle was very intelligent, unlike him. Shakuni said, all that is fine. The army is with you, the weapons are with you. Where is Krishna? Other side, loose, full, muttal. You have left that man that side and come. What will you do? This S-400. Here, Rafale and everything. Control systems is with him. What will you do with such a big army without him? Go ask him again. Add an appendix to the boon. Ask him not to use a single weapon in the Bharata Yuddham. Duryodhana went, Mama, கேட்க சொன்னார், அதாவது நீ ஆயுதம் எடுக்கப்படாதான். See, when you're on the battlefield, if you're promising not to use weapon, what purpose do you serve? ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನೋಡಕ್ ಬಂದೆ ಸರ್. ಏನ್ ನಡೀತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಕ್ ಬಂದೆ. ಇದೇನ ಕಂಠೀರವ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ? Krishna said, okay, I promise. My dear Duryodhana, you have asked. When you have asked, will I ever say no? Na illenu solvena. Yamma. Krishna said, I promise I shall not lift a weapon. Duryodhana went home happy. Arjuna said, what have you done? What will you do on the Ranabhumi without Ayudham? Krishna said, send your driver on casual leave. I will become your Sarathi. I will become your Sarathi. Sarathi, the driver, the charioteer doesn't have to use a weapon. I will sit in front of you. Keep your mobile data on. I will keep messaging you. Just follow because it has to get over in 18 days. I have only such. First day the Yuddham happened. Bhagavad Gita Upadesham happened. Second day, third day. No one died. It was as if, it was a very orchestrated Yuddham. Bhishma would throw an arrow. Arjuna will catch. Agaya. Krishna kept looking at this. He said, see, these people are wasting my time. Somebody should die, somebody should win. Results pata hona chahiye. What is this? Krishna got really perturbed. Now comes another flashback. See, Krishna had prepared for the war. If you look at Mahabharata from a strategy perspective, you'll know how Krishna had planned it from a long time. What he had done was, he had planned it in such a way that Karna and Bhishma will not be there on the war field at the same time. Karna did not enter the Ranabhumi until Bhishma was the commander-in-chief. 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 He ensured Vidura did not participate. So it was a very long-term vision and execution. Bhishma heard from one of the sources that Krishna had promised that he will not lift a weapon. You know what Bhishma did? He called for a press conference. Prior to the first day eve, he called. I, Bhishmacharya, who was called Devavrata, then later became Bhishma because of that unthinkable vow. Now I pledge, I will ensure Krishna lifts his weapon and he loses his pledge. It was a beautiful coverage in the Times of Hastinapura. Left-hand side article, Bhishma promises that he will ensure Krishna lifts his weapon. Right-hand side article, Krishna says, I will not. Who will win? Dekhiye 9 baje. It was the Yuddha Bhumi came, first 9 days it was a waste, washout. 10th day, Krishna, what he did was, he couldn't take it. He said, I will ensure, you both are fighting as if it's a child's play. I don't have that time. Let my promise go anywhere. I'm least bothered. He jumped from his charioteer's seat. Uttariyam tu gatottariyam, says Bhagavatam. You read Bhishma Stuti in Bhagavatam. Beautiful word. Gatottariyam. When Krishna jumped from his seat, he left his uttariyam there. Uttariyam is your angavastra. Shalya anta heltivi alve. So he left it there. Yake? Because Krishna wanted to be a charioteer for a long time. Like messenger. Chinna chinna asai. From Rama Avataram, he wanted to be a charioteer. He never got that opportunity. Sumantra drove, Dasharatha drove, Matali drove. He didn't get that opportunity. In Krishna Avataram, he seized the opportunity to be a charioteer. Now, after having worked so hard to be a Sarathi, he leaves that place. What if somebody else fills it? So in Mumbai local, if you have to reserve a seat, you will generally throw the kerchief. So he left his Gatottariyam, he left his Uttariyam and ran towards Bhishma, taking the chakram that was fallen on the ground and then brought it to a Pradakshina Kurvan, Prayoga Chakram, he was there. Bhishma left his Ayudham and said, I was waiting for this moment. You know why? I should have the pride of being killed by you. People will remember Krishna for the apacharam that I did when Draupadi was humiliated. You have to kill me. I did apacharam to Krishna, Draupadi. Krishna should kill me now. Then Arjuna comes and says, no Krishna, I will fight, don't worry, seriously, from now I will ensure he is dead. He immediately dialed Shikhandi. Shikhandi, aajao. Shikhandi came, Bhishma was laid to the bed of arrows. Now, I will read out the commentary. Pranata Pandavadehe Prayojanaya Satya Samayoschalati Chalaha Sahi Avadhirita Anayudha Sparsha Samayaha Samadbhuta Chakro Bhishma Chakrama. The one, remember this definition, the one who was ready to forego the promise he had made so that he lets his devotee called Bhishma win in the challenge is called Chalaha. Achalaha means the one who is uncontrolled by Duryodhana. Chalaha means if you show love towards him, he is ready to lose in front of you. Bhagavan is ready to lose. Achalas Chalaha. Sahasranamam, every nama is a gem. As this happened, there is a beautiful nama that describes, I will tell that nama first. Vijitatma. Yel barate sir. Vijitatma, Vidheyatma, Satkirtir, Chinna Samshayaha. See, sometimes when you invoke suddenly one nama, you won't know where it is. I have to tell from first. Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. Ashtu samaya alla nan helakke. ನೀವು ನಂಬ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇದು ಸಹಸ್ರನಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಿಜಿತಾತ್ಮ, who is Vijitatma? The one who is being attended to by Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi keeps pressing. You know, the moment I say, some actress will come and say, I see this. Being Bhagavan is very male chauvinistic. I don't think he should let women do this. It's not right. Before you hold your placards in Shaheen Bagh, The point is, you don't press only to show your subservience. You also press to keep the person awake. Tungadinga. If you have people close by like this, do that. If somebody is planning to doze off, that's the aftermath or the present math of a lecture. When you listen to an upanyasam, you go to Brahmanubhavam. So the other way is you keep nudging, you keep prodding. Don't do this. When you sit next. So Mahalakshmi does that. She is not subservient. She is very gullible. And not that way. Don't give the definitions that you presume and, that chooses your way of narration, which is baseless and unsubstantiated. So Mahalakshmi attends to him. It was a big thing. Mahalakshmi attends to Narayana. Does he listen to her? Yes, but in case of devotees, he says, Mahalakshmi, I am subservient to my devotees. Subservience. He says, I don't have any prestige problem in telling that I am being controlled by my devotees. That's the greatness of Bhagavan. Dasa says, Ninnante ena swami yenaguntu ninagilla. Ninante Swami. What a great Swami you are. But for us, both of us have a difference. A Swami like you, Paramatma like you is available to me, but not to you. Ninante Swami yenaguntu ninagilla. What a line. I have you, but whom do you have? I have you. So in Srimad Ramayanam, it is a beautiful Sambhavam. Sita is being abducted by Ravana. Ravana comes, abducts Sita. Jatayu dies for her cause. She is brought in Sri Lanka even today, if you plan to do a trip. There is a place called Sita Kotuva. Sita Kotuva is near Kandy. In Tamil language, people in the yesterdays of Ceylon used to call it Kandi. There used to be radio channels of Sri Lankan Tamil in those days. Sedigal Vasippadu. There'll be one. So from Ceylon there used to be a radio station. So in Sita Kotuva, Sita was kept. And later when Mandodari had found out, Ravana said, okay, let me take her. And it is believed by sources that she was taken to Eliya. Sita Eliya. Sita Eliya is a part of a hill station called Nuvara Eliya. So she was taken. And some people say it is Shripada, the mountain called Adam's Peak, south of Sri Lanka. Anyways, when Sita came, she was imprisoned in Vanam, Ashoka Vanam, because Ravana had personally supervised in the maintenance of this Vanam. So he said, my Sita should be here. Sita was surrounded by Rakshasis. See, it's very, very subtle points in Valmiki Ramayanam we have to observe. It is just not a literary work. It has lot of knowledge aspects in it. Astrology, astronomy, geography, botany. He tells what are all the plants. Santana Karani, Vishalya Karani, Mrita Sanjeevani, Sandhani. He gives the herbs names. Zoology, he talks about a certain species of the saltwater crocodiles, Makaralayam, which is found only in the Bay of Bengal stretch, nowhere else. So a lot of details is being given to us, put forth to us in a beautiful platter by Valmiki. See this clan of Vishravas. There was a rishi called Pulastya. Pulastya had a son called Vishravas. Vishravas had a Yakshapatni. Through Yakshapatni, he had a son, Yaksha son called Kubera. Kubera, generally when we find in our puja room, some of you may have one Kubera yantram, there will be one very handsome person, very well ornamented. In Veerasanam, one leg folded, the other leg extended with his Dharma Patni, Mahalakshmi in the middle, from the top pouring gold coins, Shloka written below, Yantram below. This is the typical Kubera Yantram. Remember, as per our Puranas and iconography in temples, Kubera is a specially abled person. He had a lot of deformities in his body, as per Purana. See, it's an art to appreciate and understand temple architecture. We are used to, in the last 50 years, just going to a temple, doing archana, taking that prasadam. ಏನ್ರಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರಸಾದ? ಗುಜ್ಜವಲಕ್ಕಿನ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನೆನ್ನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವೇ ನಾನು ಹೋಗೋವಾಗ. ಅವರ್ ಫುಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಗುಜ್ಜವಲಕ್ಕಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರ, ಅದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರ, ನಂಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ತ್ರಿ, ಅದು ಕ್ಯಾಶು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿ ಅವರ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಟು ಈಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್. Our concept of temple understanding itself is to elevate and make us a better individual. Not, gluttons and gourmets. We have hotels. Temple is just for your personal upliftment, not for anything else. When you go to a temple, especially a temple of the past, there are a lot of current day temples, but Karnataka Pradesha in the north you have Chalukyan architecture. Pattada kallu. Patta means that the coronation will happen there. So pattada kallu. Aihole inscription is very important in dating Mahabharatam. We have Aihole, pattada kallu, Badami, that is all Chalukyan architecture. You come slightly down, you have got Vijayanagara architecture, Hampi. You come further down, you have got Hoysala architecture. Then you have got some Rashtrakuta influence. You have got Kadamba influence, East Ganga influence. Come to Tamil Nadu, what? Every temple is like 100 acres, 200 acres. You got Chola, Pandya, Pallava, Chera, Vijayanagara, Nayaka. What architecture? When you go around a temple, it's an art to appreciate iconography. You will see, you'll just see one beautiful lady with the bends and the curves. She will be holding a jar, presumably water, and she'll be looking like this with a nice, that face. And there will be a crocodile below her. Similarly, you'll see a beautiful lady who's sculpted, again holding a pot of water. Below her is a tortoise. In a temple, if you go, you'll see this. Prachina temples. The one who below is crocodile, she's Ganga. The one below whom there's a tortoise is Yamuna. Crocodile goes fast, so Ganga is swift. Tortoise is slow, so Yamuna is Mandagamini. This is how you do iconography. You project that way. If you go to a temple, you get rid of inauspiciousness. Everything inauspicious is gotten rid there. Anything inauspicious is called Alakshmi. Lakshmi ge opposite Alakshmi. Shri Sukta Bhaga. Rigveda Khila Bhaga Shri Sukta. Alakshmi me nashyatam tvam vrine aditya varne tapasodijato vanaspatistav vrikshodabilvah tasya phalani tapasan udantu mayantarayascha bahya alakshmihi. Bahya alakshmi, let Alakshmi go away. So Lakshmi has to come. Attittagalada bhaktara manayolu nitya mahotsava nitya sumangala ಸತ್ಯವತೋರುವ ಸಾಧು ಸಜ್ಜನರ ಚಿತ್ತತಿ ಹೊಳೆಯುವ ಪುತ್ತಳಿ ಬೊಮ್ಮೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ. ಅವಳು ಬರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಳು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಬರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸಿ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಂ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕಮ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕಮ್, ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಅ ಬುಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎ ಪೆನ್. It is the duty of every person in Sanatana Dharma to note down points. When you finish your lecture, go home. Take 2 minutes. Write 4 takeaway points on WhatsApp. Send it to your children. See, this is how Dharma is nurtured and prospered. All these cliched old statements, Sanatana Dharma, it will never die. All this is... We have to take efforts. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. You have to. Don't think things will happen on their own. You have to write down points. Send it, whether your children read it or not. Some parents are, ಅವನು ಓದಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಲ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. ಖಂಡಿತ ಓದಲ್ಲ. Send it, they will read. They, children of these generations may not, openly say I read, but they will read. See, there is a kshetram very close to Kumbhakonam. Kumbhakonam is a town in Tamil Nadu. Purandaradasa recognizes it. Dharage dakshina kaveri tira kumbhapuravasanu neene karadalli vinayaganava maduta uraga bhushananu neene koralalli bhasma rudrakshava dharisida parama vaishnavanu neene ಗರುಡ ಗಮನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಪ್ರಿಯನೂ ನೀನೇ ಚಂದ್ರಚೂಡ ಶಿವ ಶಂಕರ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ರಮಣ ನಿನಗೆ ನಮೋ ನಮೋ ಧರಗೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕಾವೇರಿ ತೀರ ಕುಂಭಪುರ ವಾಸನೂ ನೀನೇ. Kumbhakonam. Raghavendra Tirtha spent his life in Kumbhakonam. So next to Kumbhakonam, very, very much in the periphery, is a kshetram called Thiruvidai Marudur. How do we remember? That is why you should carry a book and a pen. Understood why I said this? Thiruvidai Marudur. In Thiruvidai Marudur, it is said that one of the Chola Rajas of those days had a papam called Brahmahatya. Brahmahatya was tormenting him. Today we call it by various names. When Brahmahatya comes, depression, we say all these words, right? All that is Brahmahatya dosha. So the Purohitas there said, you take a darshan of Shiva. What is the name of Shiva in Thiruvidai Marudur? Very good. Mahalingeshwarar, great Nandi. So the Purohita said, you enter through one dwaram, Brahmahatya will not enter the temple. It will wait for you till you come back. You don't come back. You go through the other tower. So the Brahmahatya would sit there outside the temple. You can see that outside the temple seated like this. So when you go into a temple, Alakshmi will wait outside. Lakshmi will come along with you. How do we recognize Lakshmi? Adu gottu. Angam harehe pulaka bhushanam ashrayanti brinhanganeva mukula bharanam tamalam angikrita kila vibhutir apangalila mangalyadastu mama mangala devatayaha. Say Bhagavat Pada. Shita kiranani bhavadanam shrita chinta mani sadanam pita vasanam guru guhamatulakantam lalitam hiranmayim lakshmim sada bhajami. Lakshmi, we know, she'll have elephants, that Bank of Baroda gold coins. We know Lakshmi. How do we recognize Alakshmi? Alakshmi in a temple, if you go to a Pallava Chola temple, there'll be a woman seated with, slightly a bigger body, and she will be having a broom and a crow behind her. That is Alakshmi. So iconography is an art. Sita, when she entered the great kshetram of Lanka, Rangam, these are all words mentioned in the ancient Sangam literature, which says when sand and rocks get accumulated in the middle of a water body, it is called Rangam or Lanka. That is why Lanka is an island in the salt water. Rangam is an island in the fresh water of Kaveri. Rangam, Lanka is what Sangam literature says. So, when Sita was there, imprisoned in Lanka, she used to have a conversation only with presumably the daughter of Vibhishana called Trijata. So, Trijata used to be the only source of solace for her. As they used to converse with each other, Sita used to express her anguish, and Trijata used to convey this to her father Vibhishana. So when Hanuman came in the mid of the night, burnt entire Lanka, next day there was a round table conference, CDS meeting. Ravana said, what should I do now? One Vanara from Bharata Desham has encroached our territory, burnt it in the middle of the night and gone back. Kya kare? Kumbhakarna said, this question, kya kare, what should I do? You should have asked before abducting Sita. It was a unilateral decision then. You abducted, you faced the consequences of it. Now you are asking what to do. After the product is launched, it fails in the market. What is the use of introspecting what went wrong? You should have done that before. Vibhishana says, he seizes this opportunity. He has been advising Ravana. See, it is an international issue. You are from Lanka. You have abducted the wife of somebody from India. It will go to Geneva and all. Return kar do. You just say, by mistake we abducted. Send them one packet of cardamom and opal and some stones from Sri Lanka. through some courier service, you send. And we say, sorry, it was, save and get well card and all of that. You send. Now, when from Lanka, Vibhishana said, you send her back. Ravana will not listen. That is why Vibhishana says in Ayuddha Kandam, beautiful statement, Valmiki Madhuram Madhuraksharam. Vibhishana says, when your time of loss, destruction comes, the advice from your own well-wishers will never reach your ears. When you're bound to fail, people who advise you, even if they are hiteshis, their advice will never reach you. Only after you face, you will interest, oh, you told Anni Sonnele, Andanaal Nyabagam Ninjile Vandade, Abdinali Enna Prayojano. Uyarna Manidana irka mudiyade. So then Vibhishana adopts another strategy. First he said, you give her back. It's an international issue. Then he uses the other strategy. Yuddha Kandam, Srimad Ramayanam. He says, you know Ravana, you have not been taking and observing the incidents that have been happening in Lanka. When Brahmanas perform yaga, there are pipilikas found. He says, Agnishthe Vagnishala tata brihasthalishu cha pariprishnani drishyante havyeshu cha pipilikaha. For those ingredients which are meant to perform a yagam in a yagashala, ants are found around it, which means there is something bad that's going to happen. He gives one list of measures. In those days, there was a belief that when vultures come hither and thither, there is something bad. When one set of animals run in this particular direction, it is a bad omen. See, animals' movement, we may wonder, is this blind faith? To some extent, it is logically tenable. See, when tsunami, earthquake and all come, if you generally observe, animals will never die. They will know prior itself to Bhagavad Drishti that there is something and they will escape. Till the cloud burst happens, we will just be waiting. We don't have that jnanam, the jnana drishti, that animals have it, fishes have it. When something that happens in the nature, they will know first. They will empty that space. Let him suffer. So these animals show that there is something that is bound to happen. Ravana, from the moment this lady, I don't know what is her name, Sita has entered Lanka, there is a stock market crash. Everything is going downwards. The mutual funds are not doing well at all. All this is there because what he says is there is no saubhagyam, there is no samriddhi in Lanka from the moment she came. Why did Vibhishana do this? At least by telling this, will this man leave her? That also didn't change Ravana. He was incorrigible. Now, years later, when the Ikshvaku Kula Dhanam, remember, see, this is all a beautiful connection that you have to enjoy. Dasharatha performed an Ashwamedha Mahayajnam. Samvatsareti, it says he performed for 1 year. Towards the end of it, he performed a yagam called Putrakameshti. After Putrakameshti, it is said that he got the payasam. There is also one line in Ramayanam, Aradhaya Jagannatham Ikshvaku Kula Deivatam. For the kings of Ikshvaku Vamsha, Aradhaya Jagannatham, they prayed and propitiated to Narayana in the form of Jagannatha. So the kings of Ikshvaku Vamsha prayed to Jagannatha. Dasharatha performed Putrakameshti. And towards the end of Putrakameshti, what he received was Prasadam. Cut and come to Yuddha Kandam. Rama chose the place in Ramanathapuram district to construct his setu from Bharata Desham to Lanka. That place is called Tirupullani. Even before he constructed, there was a temple. That temple today is called Adi Jagannatha temple. And you know what is the famous prasadam of Tirupullani? Payasam. Connection. So, Rama, towards the end of Pattabhisheka, wanted to acknowledge Vibhishana's contribution. He said, Vibhishana, for all the contributions you have made, what should I give? You choose. Vibhishana said, I saw a beautiful temple, the family deity, Kuladhanam, Kuladaivam of Ikshvaku Rajas. Give me that Bhagavan. Rama is Arthitartha Paridana Dikshitaha. Whatever you ask, he'll give. He said, take. He took that Vigraham, took that Vimanam and came southwards and placed it and established it in an island formed by the branches of Kaveri called Shrirangam in Tamil Nadu. That is why you must have seen the Honorable Prime Minister who visited Shrirangam before Ayodhya Prana Pratishtha. Because Ayodhya Rama's Kuladaivam is Sriranganatha. He was originally called Jagannatha because he came to Rangam. 6.5 minutes back I said, Rangam and Lanka means it will be a collection of sand and rocks in the middle. So Shrirangam. So in Shrirangam he came, Jagannatha became Ranganatha. So this Ranganatha was worshipped. And who is Ranganatha? Sakshat Narayana. Who is Rama? Narayana. So when Rama was conversing with Sita, take the other way. Ranganatha was conversing with Ranganayaki. Ranganayakam bhavaye ham Shri Ranganayaki sametam. So they were having a conversation. She stopped massaging. Ranganatha said, Enna achu? Ranganayaki said, I didn't know that we were so shameless. Rama said, Ranganatha asked, why are we shameless? See, while I was housed in Lanka, she's Sita, right? She says, she thinks of her past. While I was housed in Lanka, I was languishing in the prison of Ashokavanam. You know what Vibhishana's daughter came and told me? She told me what her father said in Ravana Sabha Mantapam. What did Vibhishana say, ma? Tell that. It seems from the moment I got into Lanka, bad omens came. There was no prosperity. People wait for my presence in their houses. And this Vibhishana had the audacity to tell that I caused loss in Lanka. No, he wouldn't have said like that. I have proof with me. Shall I show? Dekhiye, ye message. No. I am showing you. See everything. It's not fabricated. See this message. Even if he has said, he would have said it for your good. So Mahalakshmi, to whom Bhagavan is always agreeable, when even if she says that there is a mistake committed by the devotee, the Bhagavan will fight for the devotee and ensure that the devotee wins. Hence, he is called Vijitatma. Vijitatma means even if Mahalakshmi will not say. Even if Mahalakshmi says, he will ensure that the devotee only wins. Tannadiyar tirattagattu தாமரையாள் ஆகிலும் சிதகுரைக்குமேல் என்னடியார் அது செய்யார் செய்தாரேல் நன்று செய்தார் என்பர் போல் says பெரியாழ்வார். Vijitatma. What is the next nama? Vidheyatma. Vidheyam means to command. What does Vidheyatma mean? The one who says, who lives by what his devotees say. See, in our houses, whatever food we make, he eats. What more you want him to do? Namma pandratha saapirraru paavam illaya. In one more week we will have Krishna Jayanti coming. First he has to undergo a detoxification for that. ನಮ್ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ಸ್ನ ತಿಂತಾರೆ ಪಾಪ ಅವಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸ್ವೀಟು ಕೆಟ್ಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. இந்த வருஷம் சீடை நன்னாலேன்னா அடுத்த வருஷம் ஏதாவது ஆகிடும். ஏதோ பாவம் அது ஒன்று உருப்படியாக ஒரு வருஷம் வரவே. சீடை எப்படி இருந்தது? நன்னா இருந்தது. மிக்சர் எப்படி இருந்தது? ஐயோ போட்டு மிக்சரே இல்லை. யமதர்மராஜனுடைய பிரசாதம் அவ்வளோ மோசமாக இருந்தது. ஸோ he eats whatever we give, he consumes. You ask him to stay. Pundalika, one of the greatest devotees in Pundarika Kshetram, said, I am serving my mother and father. Even if it is Narayana at my doorstep, I am throwing one stone. Udar hi thero. Vitthal. He stood. Yen ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅವನು? Stood like that. Rupa पाहता लोचनी सुख झाले वो साजणी तो हा विठ्ठल बरवा तो हा माधव बरवा तो हा विठ्ठल बरवा तो हा माधव बरवा तो हा विठ्ठल बरवा माझे मनोरथ पूर्ण करी देवा केशव माधव नारायणा माझे मनोरथ. So Vitthala, devotee says, stand on that, he stands. We offer food, he eats. Come here with me, he comes. Go. Is there an incident, sir? Beautiful incident. Remember, during the Pallava times, 1400 years back, the capital of Pallavas for a large period of time was Kanchipuram. For some part, it was called Mamallapuram, called Mahabalipuram. Kanchipuram, there was a king called Pallavaraya. Around the same time, in the vicinity of Kanchipuram, in an ashrama, in a hermitage setup, was a rishi called Bhaktisara. Bhaktisara was originally from an outskirt of Chennai called Tirumalizai. So he was called Tirumalizai Piran Alvar. He was a great Siddha Purusha, Yogic Purusha. He always used to engage in Ashtanga Yoga. He had a very devout student, Shishya, called as Kani Kannan. Kani Kannan used to religiously serve his guru, Tirumalizai Piran or Alvar, called Bhaktisara. Uttukadu Kavi, 300 years back, says the list. Bhaktisara Kulashekara Yatindra Bhattanata Bhuta Munivahana Bhaktapada Dhuli Madura Kavisara Parakala Makadahvaya Pramukhaira Virala Samstuyamana Tadramidagana Rasollasa Kinchit Unmilita Nayanam Palita Bhuvanam Kelita Ranga Purandara Bhavanam Shri Rangaratham Anisham. So this Bhaktisara was there with a student called Kanikannan. One old lady, she used to sweep, mop, do her rangoli and all of that in that ashram. After many hours and days and weeks of tapasya, this Tirumalizai Alvar opened his eyes. See, a yogic Purusha, it is believed in our Shastra, has a lot of power to the eyes. Even commoners, we say, drishti biddidiyo. Nazar, even not they'll say nazar utarna hai. Because eyes have a power. When commoners have it, won't yogic Purushas have it? That is why in Sri Mahabharatam, Gandhari took the vow of not opening her eyes. She said, if my husband can't see, I will not see. But still. See, if the husband can't see, shouldn't it be the other way where the wife says, I will see, I will help you. Does your husband come to Upanyasams? No. Because even I will not come. So, she closed her eyes. She was a great Shiva Bhakta. She lost all her sons to Bhima in Mahabharata Yuddham. The only surviving one was number one, called as Duryodhana. She wanted to somehow protect him. See, we cannot complain because she is a mother. She had to protect. She got an idea. She said, I've got power in my eyes. When I open and see whatever object, whosoever, they will be armored. It will be like a kavacham for them. They will be protected well. My dear son, I hereby consulted with the Purohitas. You have to take bath in the river and come with the same body through which you were born of me, which means no clothes. Krishna, who knew again, every point Krishna will come. While Duryodhana was walking, he said, Chi, shame. ಏನೋ ನೀನು ಇಷ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆದಿದೆಯೋ ತಾಯಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಈ ಥರ ಶೇಮ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡುವೋ. Duryodhana said, what should I do, Krishna? See, at least cover your marmasthanam with a leaf. He brought 2 leaves, covered his thighs and marmasthanam and went. She opened her eyes. Full kavacham to the body except the thighs. That is why Krishna said, Bhima hit the thighs. Very, very well planned movement. Now, power of the eyes. So the yogic Purusha opened his eyes. The moment he opened and he saw that woman, Tavat Jagat Sundarim. She became very pretty. Sindura Puri. She turned 16 years. 16 vayadinile. So she became very, very young, youthful. She was extremely happy because it was, he opened his eyes. The grace fell on her. There was no intent to make her beautiful. She became beautiful, byproduct of that opening of the eyes. She was walking by the streets of Kanchipuram. Pallavaraya, the reigning king who was seated on the chariot, and the galloping horses came. He looked at this beautiful woman. I have never seen a piece of beauty like you. Such immaculate beauty, blemishless to say. Where are you from? Pakkathu Thiru. Oh, I haven't seen you before. Then she showed her previous photo, this before, after. Eppadi irundana, ippadi aiten. He asked, what treatment? Where did you go? PRP, what is it? What treatment have they given? She said, nothing. My Acharya looked at me. I became like this. He said, even I need to come. Let him see. She said, see, my Acharya didn't have the intent to see me. He saw I turned like this. He's not made this as a profession. Ellaru line vango. Aisa nahi chalega na. So she said, oh, anyways, for more queries, get in touch with kanikandan@gmail.com. So this king went and contacted Kanikandan, the student of Alvar. You should remember all these names. So this Raja went and contacted Kanikandan. Kanikanna, I wish to have an appointment with your guru. He asked, why? Because he has to see me. See you? Why? He has to see me. Seeing you is the purpose. He won't do all such things. He's very busy. We'll get in touch with you shortly. Pallavaraya got angry when the king is asking, the reigning monarch is saying that I have to see. You should be happy enough to give me an appointment, and you say that I should not be seeing him. I hereby excommunicate you from Kanchipuram. Kanikanna said, as you say, sir. He went and told his Acharya, see, the king is upset with me. He has said I have to move away from Kanchipuram. I am leaving. He said, Tata, bye, namaskaram. Thanks for all the grace, and he left. Now the Acharya thought he had only one Sishya. And he calls himself an Acharya. That Sishya is also gone. Then how is he an Acharya? He said, see, if my student is going, then what purpose will I serve? So even I will join you. And he said, Kanikanna, wait, even I will come. And he took his manuscripts and left. Then the presiding Devata of the temple where he was performing yoga was called Vega Setu. Yen sir idu? Ekam Vegavati madhye hastishailecha drishyate upaya phalabhavena swayam vyaktam param mahaha ishte gamayitum param. So, when Bhagavan was reclining there, he looked very sadly at Tirumazhi saying, your student has gone, you have gone, then what will I do? Without a student, Acharya doesn't serve any purpose. Without a devotee, what Bhagavan will serve? You take me also. That is when Tirumazhi Alvar said, this is in chaste Tamil. Kani kannan pogindran kamarum punkachi manivanna ni kidakka venda tuni udaya shenna pulavanum shelgindren. I am leaving. Ni yummundan painahappai suruttikol. You are reclining on the serpent couch, roll it. There used to be something called hold on in those days. Like roll it and come like this. Immediately the Lord, in his yogic dasha, took Adishesha, rolled it. So first student Kanikandan is leaving Kanchipuram. Followed by him is his Acharya, Tirumazhi Piran. Followed by him is Bhagavan. He left. They went and stayed one night in the outskirts of Kanchipuram. That very night, bad omens were observed by the Pallavaraya. In those days, administrators were very good. So they observed what all is happening in their territory. Newly born children were dying. All this happened in one night, one incident after the other. There was attack in the medical field in the middle of the night. All this happened. Immediately the administrator took notice. Instead of walking on the street, he took notice of it. What he did was, he thought, what I have done is wrong. He went, inquired where the three people are, went to that village and said, Swami, please forgive me. I did a mistake. It's a grave mistake. You come back. Immediately, Acharya looked at his Shishya. Shishya, can we go? King, sure sir, we'll go. So Acharya left, Shishya left. Again Bhagavan, sir, I believed you and care. You have left me here. That is when Alvar said, okay, you follow me, and then came back to that place. That is when he sang another song. Kani kannan pokkolindan kamarum punkachi manivanna ni kidakka vendum tuni udaya shenna pulavanum shelavolinda niyum mundan painaha payai virittukkol. Unfold your snake mat and sleep again. When the Sishya said, come with me, he came. See, that night, one night they stayed outside, right? That place is called Vor Iravu Irikai. Orikai, we call it, right? That place. So, when Bhagavan said, Acharya said, come, Bhagavan came. When he said, go back, he went. The one who eats what we serve, the one who stands on the brick what Pundalika gave, the one who came when Alvar called and came, went back when the Alvar said, the one who's commandable by his devotees is called Vidheyatma. Vijitatma, Vidheyatma. Every name. See, now you may be thinking, I'll just read your mind. So every name has such beauty. What if I knew the meaning of all the 1,000 names? Good thought. But there is a danger in this argument. The danger is you are able to understand the name, relish the name with the anecdote. No doubt. I am taking great pleasure in telling you. But if this holds true, then the argument that only if I know the meanings of the names, I will recite, will be an argument. That is wrong. See, some people say, see, they say, Vijitatma, Vidheyatma, Satkirti, Chinna Samshaya, Udedna Sarva. What is the purpose? Yen Vijitatma andre yenu yar atma sir? Idu Mahatma kelidini. Yen Vijitatma? Yenu adu Vidheyatma yar sir avuru? So we don't know. Now, there's a counter argument. See, absolutely, I would really be happy to read this if I would know the meanings and the quintessence of the names. I don't know, so I don't read. That's a bad argument. In Ajamilopakhyanam, in Narayaniyam, Bhattatri answers this question. He says, Yathaushadam. Yathaushadam. See, I'm sure you will have children, grandchildren. When you take them to a pediatrician, there is a list of vaccines that the doctor will give. MMR, measles, pentavalent vaccine, booster, this, that. When the doctor administers the child, he'll say, bring the child, they'll check the weight, height and everything. If everything is fine, then they'll give this. They'll ask you whether you want a painful one, painless one, they'll give. Before that, will they, oh my dear child, I'm really happy that you've come to my place. I'm indeed blessed with your presence, my dear child. This is a vial that contains an attenuated vaccine, which I will administer, and your body's immune system will react to it. And there is an immunity against the disease. Do you get it? Will you explain all this to the child? He will just prick. Oh, another. Okay, next they will call. That's all. Just because he has not explained, and just because the child doesn't know what is administered, will the vaccine not act? Just because we recite the names without knowing the meaning, it doesn't mean the meaning will, the namas will go fruitless. It will give you Yathaushadam Agniriveditam, says Bhattatri Narayaniyam. Like how a medicine, see a diabetic patient goes to the doctor, they'll check HbA1c, what is your fasting, glucose, everything. They'll check the other comorbidities. Then the doctor, the diabetologist, the endocrinologist may say whether you have to go for a metformin, glimepiride or gliclazide, or whether you have to go for a vildagliptin. Then they'll say what is the half-life, you have to take this in the morning and all of that. That's all. Now nobody will explain the pharmacokinetics to the patient. See, this metformin, what it will do is, it will go take nothing. Take this. Now we will ask one question. Sir, nanu idli tagobittu tago. All our questions ide. Sir, naale yajuru upakarma sir. Idli ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ idli ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ sir. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಚಟ್ನಿ ತಗೋಬೋದಾ? Now doctors are very careful. They say avoid salt, sugar, carbs. என்ன அடுத்தது மோட்சம் தான். Avoid all this. As such, tasteless food gets even more tasteless. So, Yathaushadam, Bhattadri says, medicine will act on a patient immaterial of whether the patient knows what that medicine is. So, Sahasranamam recitation should not be with the precondition that I should know the meaning like this for all the 1,000 names. No. Have a journey. You will get to know. But till then, do not stop. See, there is a power associated with the language. There is a power associated with the person who has written that Shastram. Bhishma has compiled, Vyasa has compiled, Yudhishthira has asked, Krishna is the witness, Adi Shankara has commented, Parashara Bhatta has committed. So when all of them have written, there is a power there. With all these fake arguments that, oh, I will need to understand, don't do that. Every nama is important, some way or the other. See, in last lecture of Bharati Vidya Bhavan, I explained some 8 namas. Now, this is the beauty that is brought out, one nama is very interesting. Chandramshuhu. Very interesting anecdote. Chandramshuhu. Chandra. Chandra is ahlada. Ahladam. Hlada means gives happiness. Hladam. Ahladam means happiness. Chadi. Ahlada Vishayam. When you look at the moon, it gives you some kind of a solace. See, sun is important, vitamin D, all that is there, but you can't keep looking at the sun. Even in Sringara Kavyam, when love story comes, the poet will generally like, the boy took the girl when the nectarine rays of the moon were shining. Moon has to shine in Sringara Kavyam. They will not say in the middle afternoon. When it was burning hot, scorching rays. Chadi ahladane. Chandra gives happiness. That is why in a Jatakam, in horoscope, if Chandra's position is a bit compromised, there will be little mental instability. That is why we, in ancient days they used to say, on Amavasya Ratri and Paurnima Ratri, be very careful. Because there is some lunar force that acts on the earth, especially on those nights when the waxing phase ends and the waning phase ends. So, Chandra, ahladani, Chandra's position is very important. In Ramayanam, in Rama's Jatakam, from Lagnam, in Lagnadhipati is Chandra and Brihaspati. When they were in the same position, that is why he had some problem with his family. Sita was abducted. Some problem will be there because Kemadruma Yogam will come there. Okay, all this is very deep in astrology. So this Chandra is very important. So Chandra, Ahlada Vishayam, that is why the one who gave happiness to his parents was called Prahlada. Father did not give happiness, son gave. Prahlada. So this Ahlada Vishayam is Chandra. Chandra is also called as Shodashakala Purnaha. When all that kala is the faces, it also means he gives you lot of forms of knowledge. Buddha, if it's good in a Jatakam, you'll have buddhi, good intelligence. Shukra is good in a Jatakam, they will be very good in creativity, fine arts, dance, music, everything will come because Shukra is responsible for that. So every graha, see, astrology is a very deep science. Now, Chandra is also responsible, is also called Sudhakara. Sudha means ambrosia, it is believed. Belief. Again, don't ask me when Chandrayaan went, did they capture or not. It is believed that Chandra's rays of the moon, enthuses the herbs in the world to act on us. How do we say that? See, the kshetram called Thiruvannamalai, Shiva Kshetram. Arunachala Natham Smarami Anisham Apita Kuchamba Sametam. In Tiruvannamalai, there is a paddhati on Paurnima. They will do a pradakshinam around that giri. It's called giri valam because it is believed on a full moon, the rays of the moon fall on the hill filled with herbs, and that sends us the breeze that can act on us in curing some of our ailments. So the rays of the moon are very important. When Rama walked into the forest, Dandakaranyam, there is a vakyam, Tesham anunam kamalam, Tetam somamiva udhritam drishtva ityadi. The rishis looked at Rama. How was Rama? Rama looked like moon to them because they were tormented with the Rakshasas. When Rama came, it was like a medicine. That is why Rama was born in Surya Vamsha. But what is he called? Rama Chandra. Rama Chandram Bhavayami. So this Rama is the Chandramshu. But is that the Chandramshu? One Rama cools down. There is another deeper meaning. Listen to this carefully. At one point in time, when the world was largely, we deal with a lot of concepts these days, you must have studied, called Ice Age. When Ice Age happens, there will be a very high reduction in the temperature, the global temperature. We say global warming now. It's the opposite then. It will turn ice. So even in cold things, we don't think cold is easier to bear. It is tough. So you can't bear. When the chilly wind comes, you can't take it. Imagine it's Ice Age. So when Ice Age happens, when everything turns into ice, at one point in time, the ice will start melting. When ice melts and there is increase in the water levels, land masses will get submerged. That is when the land has to rise above the waters for the living beings to continue their sustenance. This concept is mentioned in the Shastram where Narayana was sleeping on the waters. See, Naraha Apo iti prokta. Narayana means one meaning is the one who reclines on the waters. If you go to Kathmandu, there is a temple called Jalanarayana. He is always there in the waters. See, when the Tair Vada, Dahi Vada? When you make that Vada, first fry it. You should not add curds to it immediately. First you should let it float in the buttermilk. This is what they show in cooking channels. Then it has to get soft. The buttermilk has to get into the vada to make the inner part soft. Then you have to take the vada and then add curds, and you can add little coconut. I'll tell you that recipe later. Now, so when the vada floats in the water, it is Narayana. Because it floats in the water. What is the other meaning for Narayana? Moksha Pradata. The one who gives moksham. Vada is also. You eat vadas, you get moksha. Naranam ayanam yasya saha narayanaha. So this Narayana was reclining in the waters from his nabhi. Nali kena spurita rajasa vedhaso nirmimana. There came a beautiful lotus. Seated on the lotus was Brahma. Simple creation process has to begin. One Mahabharata version is there. Devi Bhagavatam version is there. Mahabharata version says, Brahma saw 2 droplets of water falling from him onto the petal or leaf, and they turned into asuras, is what Mahabharatam says. Devi Bhagavatam says, the water entered the ears of the Lord. From the ear wax emerged 2 people. One was very kathora, very hard, so he was called Kaitabha. The other one was very mridu, very soft, so he was called Madhu. Madhu and Kaitabha were there. And Brahma was having 4 children. It's a personification of the Vedic thoughts. Rik, Yajuhu, Sama, Atharvanam. And all those 4 children were under his guardianship. Madhu and Kaitabha visited Brahma. Brahma looked at both. They said fine and stole the children. They took the Vedic knowledge from Brahma and went. Brahma had no basis now, knowledge now to create. He prayed to Narayana. That is when Mahabharatam says in the Narayaniya Bhagam in Shanti Parva that there was a beautiful crescent moon that came, and in the cool rays of the moon came one Lord with the face of a horse. He gave the neighing of the horse, that sound. Katha darpakshubhyat kathaka kula kola hala bhavam haratuanta dhvantam hayavadana hesha hala hala ha. That hala 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 sound came, neighing of the horse. Hala, hala, hal, hala. If you split it, hal and ahal means vowels and consonants in Sanskritam. Which means knowledge came from Hayagriva. Lost knowledge was regained. That is why Britishers, I don't know what context, if the truth has to come out, they'll say, let it come from the horse's mouth. You have heard. Samahara samnam pratipadam rucham dhama yadusham layaf pratyuhanam lahari vitatir bodha jaladhehe. So this knowledge came from Hayagriva, and he gave a punar upadesham, re-teaching to Brahma. Brahma will forget it. Sir, I listen to so many lectures, it feels so good. But the moment I finish listening, I forget. Some people say, கேட்கும்போது நன்னா புரியுது சார், தலையை ஆட்டுறாந்துக்கு போனோன்னு என்ன சொன்னார், என்னென்னவோ சொன்னார், என்ன சொன்னார்னு அவரை கேட்டாதான் தெரியும் போல இருக்கு. So this retention, see, understandability is not a problem. Retention is a problem. For that, what should you do? You should keep listening. See, when you listen, you can understand. When you stop listening, if you forget, the process is you have to keep listening. What should you do for that? September 8th, I am speaking at the RV Dental College, JP Nagar, for Prema Pandurangji's memorial lecture. September 8th, next to Ganesh Chaturthi. If on Ganesh Chaturthi, Kadabu Tintira. Next day, September 8th, Sunday evening, 5 p.m., I am speaking on the topic called Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. How is Krishna? In English. 2 hours lecture, free to all, open to all, anybody can come. September 8th, Sunday, 5 p.m., Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum in English in RV Dental College, JP Nagar. I've told you clearly. Now 3 people will come and ask again. Yell helidri. So I don't know whether I am bad in communication or... JP Nagar, RV Dental College, September 8th, Sunday, 5 p.m., open to all. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, English lecture by me. By me, yaar pesanga? By Adiin. Okay, one. Second thing is, if you are in and around Malleshwaram area, September 5th, evening, Sayankalam, 6 p.m., September 5th, Sayankalam, Teachers' Day, you can remember easily, September 5th, evening, 6 p.m., I'm speaking in Venugopala Swami temple in Malleshwaram. The topic is in Tamil. I'm going to speak in Tamil. The topic is Gopala Vimshati. And this coming Friday, which is August 23rd, Friday, August 23rd, this week Friday, 7 p.m. at the Sapna Book House, Koramangala, there is a book reading session. I've authored a book called Ramayanam, which is available outside for your buying. I've authored this book. Simple. You can read it. Anybody can read it. Everybody can read it. The book is available for sale. It is available in bookstores, Amazon as well. Books are available outside as well. So on the August 23rd, I'm doing a book reading session to explain what are the instances in Ramayana, how to understand the book. So it is between 7 and 8:30. There is a registration, free registration. It is available on all my social media handles. Go to YouTube, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to LinkedIn. You'll find that link, Pancha Samskaram, 5 places. So you go there, check that link, fill that form. August 23rd, Sapna Book House, 7 p.m., Koramangala, open to all, free. You can attend. August 23rd, Sapna Book House. September 5th, Malleshwaram. September 8th, RV Dental College. August 23rd is English. September 5th is Tamil. September 8th is English. Now, Chandramshuhu, Hayagriva came and gave the Punar Upadesham to Brahma. So he cooled Brahma, and through his cool rays he gave knowledge as well. That is why in many schools now they are keeping AC. Cool room. So in a cool surroundings, he gave knowledge to Brahma. The one who dispenses and disseminates quintessential knowledge to his children, beginning from Brahma, like the nectarine rays of the moon, is called Chandramshuhu. Now I told you about Madhukaitabha, right? Now Brahma got that knowledge. What happened to Madhukaitabha? Madhukaitabha found the children missing because the children have come back in the form of knowledge. So they went and had to fight Narayana. But there's a small incident mentioned in Devi Bhagavatam. While they were just talking, they said some bijaksharam. I am clean. Some bijaksharam, just like. Immediately Parvati appeared and said, you have uttered a bijaksharam, I give you a boon. Then they asked for a boon. They said, only if we choose to die, we have to die. It's a pension. So they asked. Immediately Bhagavan asked Madhukaitabha, give me a boon. Madhukaitabha said, Narayana is asking for a boon. We are quite honored, and please, what do you want? I have to kill you. Tathastu. So, Madhu and Kaitabha were brought. See, it's in a very cosmic world that we have to take. Earth was plunged in waters. Land had to rise. As land arose, there had to be some vegetation. For vegetation, there should be some nutrition. See it here. Madhu Kaitabha were crushed. When the body is crushed, you get the body fat, which is called medhas. This medhas was applied to the hills, which means in creation, vegetation came. When vegetation came, when food comes, humans and animals can sustain. Because we have read that food web, right? There's grass will be eaten by the goat will be eaten by the lion. All this, the food web, food cycle, all that will come into. So medhas was applied on the land. That is why this medhas was applied. Bhumi is called Medini. So earth was also given sustenance. Brahma was also given knowledge. Like by the moon-like God. Why is he moon-like? Because in Srishti we say, moon came from Parabrahman, Narayana's manas. Chandrama manaso jataha. That is why, remember, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, when our Atma departs from our body, first within the body, all the five senses will dysfunction and will come to a core. Normal, natural death, your eyes can't see at one point in time, ears can't hear, your tongue can't taste, your skin can't feel. Slowly it will all come. They will all converge. That time the last element is manas. That manas will go out of the body and find refuge in Chandra. So, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, manas chandrogatha. It will go to Chandra. So, manas will go to Chandra. I will tell one small incident you will all appreciate. There is a beautiful kavyam called as Naishadham. Naishadham talks about the story of Nala and Damayanti, written by a great poet called Sri Harsha. Poet par excellence. Harsha writes in Naishadham that prior to the night of Swayamvaram, Damayanti was looking to the sky. She saw the full moon. But she was sure that, other people are competing, I won't be able to marry Nala. So with a lot of dejected mood in her, she was looking at the moon. It was seeming as if the moon was telling her, you will anyways not marry Nala. I'm there. So the Kavi says, through Damayanti looked at the moon. O moon, you must have also studied Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where it says in the parting of the Atma, the manas goes to the moon. And you have been thinking that if I die now, I will reach you. Don't be under that wrong thoughts. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says it will reach the moon. But I will not reach the moon, you. I will reach the face of Nala, which looks like the moon. Nala Mukhenduhu. So how poets have deployed Upanishads in their kavyams is a moment to cherish. So Chandramshuhu is 282nd Nama. Achyutaha, Duswapnanashanaha, Achalaha, Chalaha, Vijitatma, Vidheyatma, Chandramshuhu. 7 names. We have learnt. Last Bharati Vidya Bhavan lecture, some 8 names I have covered. Sir, if you cover like this, how many it will take for one Chaturyugam? If I finish. But this is just to give you a flavor that Sahasranamam is very, very conducive and very friendly with us. You want to get destroyed of your bad dreams? Duswapna Nashanaha. You want to tell Bhagavan, don't abandon me? Achyutaha. When you want to tell Bhagavan that even if devotees commit mistakes, he will argue for you with Mahalakshmi, Vijitatma. He will listen to you with whatever little comforts you give him, Vidheyatma. Is he the one who cools us and gives us knowledge? Chandramshuhu. Is he the one who cannot be controlled even by Duryodhana? So don't think of controlling him. Achalaha. For a devotee, is he being controlled like Bhishma? Chalaha. See, you've got these namas which are relatable and accessible and enjoyable to us. That is Vishnu Sahasranamam. Hope, wishing you all a great week ahead. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.